Hey, game makers. Let's game dev. So, just one. Uh, so last time we got our basic, very basic victory and defeat conditions and built the very just hints of a game loop. So you lose, you go back to the main menu, back into the game. You win, back to the main menu, back to the main game. Uh, and but the character itself is not very fun, right? And there's always going to be a balance between working on stuff that is, you know, polish and like making your game feel like a game and making your game an actual game, like, ignoring the jank and just trying to give your player something to do, something to accomplish. That's what we did last time. So from here on out, I expect these videos to get probably longer, more technical, and starting to really dig into making those systems that we've put in place uh, more, uh, words are escaping me, more complicated. More like we kept saying, let's put this in, doesn't matter how good it is, we'll come back and fix it later. We're already starting to get to that point for a few things. But let's start with the character. The character is very important, and we want to make sure that it feels good to run around as the character and that die, we can't win. We're just going to run around as a character for a little ways. Uh, so let's look at how the character controls right now and just start tackling things. I'll have to put back. So she just walks, which is kind of boring. Kind of usually want to like run in these games, but mostly it's just like she's just super responsive, which in some games is really good. But I want her to have some weight to her. I want her to feel like as you're, and this likely isn't the character I'm going to be using for the final game, but it's just some nice art to work with. I want her to feel like when you change direction, there's a little bit of delay to it. When she jumps, there's a little bit of a delay to it. Kind of make her feel weighty and that she really exists in this world, especially since I'm not planning on doing something super technical and tight like Hollow Knight, where the tiniest miscalculation on how you're manipulating your character can result in death. Or at least taking damage. I want to be a lot more forgiving, which means my character can be a little bit more, I don't think floaty is the right word, but a little bit less responsive to give her some weight. So the first thing I want to do is give her some momentum so that when she moves, changes directions, things like that, it's a little bit more, feels a little bit better. So let's go into her. And we're going to start the very beginnings of a kind of physics system. We've already got it for gravity. We've got our v speed and our h speed. So we're going to need some other things. We're going to need so move speed has now become kind of a max move speed. And really this is more like a move suggests in any direction. Really this is just horizontal move. This is her walk speed. So we're going to say max walk speed, and that might be reused for run speed as well. We'll see. We'll have some ideas on how we might handle that. We got max walk speed, our current walk speed equals 0, and which we probably just use h speed for this. And our walk excel is going to be 0.1 for now. And then we need to be able to stop. Well, so walk break equals 0.1. We'll come back and adjust these numbers once we get something in. So if we go to our step event, we're doing hori, h speed. Okay, so whenever you want to give your character momentum so that it feels better, we got to get rid of this equal sign. It's not going to work anymore because we need to remember our previous horizontal speed and adjust it. So no more equal sign. We're going to do a approach. I have approach in here. I should have approach in here. Haven't used approach yet. Am I spelling that right? Okay, cool. Let me pull up my handy dandy helpful script folder over here. And approach is one of those that I'm honestly a little shocked that hasn't just been added to GameMaker yet. It's just so vital. I use it all the time. So we're going to say hSpeed equals approach. Our start is our current speed. Our target is either our max move speed or or 0 if we're not holding a direction. So if Hori equals 0, then we're going to approach 0. Else we're going to do Hori times max walk speed. Okay. If you're not familiar with these are ternary operators. So you got the question mark, so you're asking a question. Is Hori equal to 0? If it is, do this. If it's not, do this. So it's very similar to an if-else. And we can use it just right in the middle of anything, of a function. We could do it right here. We could do it anywhere. They're really, really useful and can reduce on kind of the number of lines that your code has. That being said, and I've said this before, the number of lines in your code is not a good or a bad thing, right? More lines is not worse than fewer lines. It's all about code readability. And ternaries are kind of like, learning a new word that you've added to your language, or a new sentence structure, whatever. At the first glance, it's weird and you kind of have to sound it out. But once you get used to seeing it over and over again, it becomes easier to read than multiple lines of code. I can look at this because of how often I've used ternaries and just say, oh, okay, if the horizontal speed is 0, then we're going to approach 0. Otherwise, we're going to go towards walk speed. Cool. And we're going to do this actually twice, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to say we're going to approach this, but how fast are we going to approach it is also going to be a ternary. If we're not holding anything, then we're going to use our break. Our walk break. Else, we're going to use our walk excel. So now we've got two ternaries in a single approach, which if you were trying to do like an if else on these, you could see how this could be like 8 lines of code. So very cool, very excited about it. I love using ternaries. It actually brings me a little bit of joy every time I get to use them. So there we go. So now our hSpeed and our vSpeed are being adjusted dynamically. So let's see what that feels like and go from there. Hey, it didn't crash. Always a good thing. So it's a little slippery, and takes a second to excel. I want her to feel a little bit more responsive than this. So let's pick some things up. Let's do walk excel to 2, and I want her to come to a stop faster than that. So there we go. Feels pretty good. So it's a little slippery when turning around, and that's fine for now. But I think that feels pretty good. So we'll keep it for now. Let's do one little refactor though. So whenever I see this, we got 3 variables here that are all, they all start, wow, did I really put underscores right there? Did I do that? So weird. Why would I do that? Fix that real fast. Super weird. Broke my own naming convention. Didn't even notice. Embarrassing. We'll come back to this in a second. Let me fix that. Wow. Do that anywhere else? Don't let me do that again. Shout me out in the comments if you see me do that again. Breaking your naming convention is not good. Okay, so as I was saying, when I see variables with the same name, and that's kind of what drew my attention, is all of these start with key, but we're going to fix this in a different way later. I don't like that. It doesn't make any sense because really we've got max speed, we've got an Excel variable, and we've got a break variable. And all of these can be wrapped in a struct. So then I could say like walk equals, make this a struct. Now when I do this, I can say walk dot max speed, walk dot Excel, just Excel, thank you, and walk dot break. Now, in the future, I've done this before, so I won't jump too far ahead, but this seems unnecessary. Like it was working fine before, why do this? Well, eventually she's going to be able to do other things besides walk, such as run. And run is going to have a different max speed, a different Excel, a different break. So I'm going to have something like this. Max speed equals 5. When she excels, she's going to excel a little bit faster. And when she breaks, I don't know if we'll even use this value, but it's going to be a little bit slower. It's going to be more slippery because she's moving faster. And then I'll have run. Then I can do something like this. Cur physics equals walk. I can come in here and say, I guess we're doing it now. Cur physics, cur physics, cur physics. So now I can swap out for physics at any time from walk to run and get different behavior without having to change a whole bunch of variables or having a separate list of cur max speed, cur Excel, cur break. I just swap out one variable and all of that stuff automatically updates. So let's go ahead and make her run right now. I'm not going to update the sprite. Run is likely going to be something that requires some sort of button press or button combination. Oh, right. Now we're happy. Okay, not totally happy apparently. Oh, point. Oh, okay. Oh, I missed it right there. Wow. Can't believe I did all this code and didn't notice my underscores. Okay, broke again. Oh, right, man. Really important to get this stuff right, because when you should have just done a find and replace. I'm still not going to, because I'm pretty sure this is the last place I do this. Okay, looks a little silly because she's still doing that fast walk animation, but just like that, I was able to swap out from walk to run physics. So pretty cool. But this causes a problem. So let me add a little debug thing here. Draw, say draw set text alignment to font align center bottom, see white. I'm going to say draw text. So do center. Where's her origin right now? Yeah, okay, it's at her feet. So let's do this. Do center top. Do X, Y plus 5. Then we're going to do string x plus string y. So we're going to draw out our y coordinates, or x and y coordinates. Okay, well, she is on a or above the collision. Try that again. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, we've got non-whole numbers, right? 196.4, 224.4. And I know that recently GameMaker updated its collision system to allow for non-whole number collision checks. Previously, place meeting, things like that were all being floored or rounded, or sometimes it would just change for whatever they felt like changing it to for that time. But you always were comparing like a whole number to a collision check. And now it doesn't. Now it can use floating points to check for collisions. I don't like it. I don't think it really helped anything, and it seemed just like listening to murmurs around on the GM Discord and just in the GM community at large that it didn't really solve any problems. So right before that that update came out, I started using a different system for updating my character, and I really like it. And I'm never going back to this having non-whole number x and y positions. So let's go ahead and fix that right now. I don't like floating point positions, so we're going to make it so it doesn't do that anymore. So we've got our h speed, we got our v speed. To do this, we're going to have to have our movement and collision work in 1 pixel increments. So I'm going to move x this far, y this far. But that means that if we're trying to do something that is less than 1 pixel or slightly more than 1 pixel, so like 1.5 or 0.2 or something like that, we don't want to just lose that, right? That we still want our game to feel like the math is being done on less than 1 pixel at a time or more than 1 pixel at a time. And so we get that nice smoothness and feel on the acceleration and things like that. We don't want the feel that we have right now to go away. We just want our collisions to, or our position to respect a whole number only. So we got to keep track of the leftover. So to do that, I'm going to say v speed left. I don't like left. Remaining. Don't be afraid of long variable names. I think it's more important to just know what you're doing and know what this variable is referring to, because in 2 years, when you're still working on this project and you've stopped messing with your physics, you're not going to know what v speed r is. So that's 0. H speed remaining equals 0. Okay, and then our step event. So we've got our we're adjusting our h speed and our v speed. So we are going to so here's our collision. And we're going to say, instead of this, where we're saying x plus equals h speed, we're going to do something more similar to this. We're going to do a repeat loop. So repeats, if I say do h speed remaining plus equals h speed. And then I want to do this. This might take a couple of tries. We don't want to. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, I'm going to repeat for h speed remaining, or absolute value of h speed remaining. And we're going to h speed remaining equals approach. Speed remaining, going to go towards 0 and add an increment of 1 because we're moving 1 pixel at a time. Then, so we gotta get the direction of that. So var dir equals sign speed remaining. So now we know whether we're moving left or right. And then move this here and say, well, tile meeting x plus dir, and while not tile meeting, so we don't even really need this, right? This is to, oh, you're about to hit something, let's stop. We know that if tile meeting x plus 1, since all of our x positions are whole numbers, we know that if we move even 1 more pixel to the right or the left, we're going to run into a wall. This is all we need. We don't need this while loop anymore. But we know that if we're about to collide, h speed equals 0, against wall equals true. Otherwise, x plus equals sure. We also need to, we don't need to adjust our h speed, I don't think. And we can see if that works real fast before we mess with our v speed. I think this will work. Only one way to find out. There we go. So, and she still accelerates and looks really nice. That being said, it doesn't look as smooth as it used to because her x and y position is always whole number, and I'm using subpixels. My application surface is larger than my view. In fact, let's bring in one more. This is a very helpful script that I use all the time to debug resolution and aspect ratio issues. Let's see, display write all specs. I'm gonna promise I'll organize this over here at some point. It's kind of a mess right now. So close that. Let's go into object camera, add a draw GUI event. Just say display write all specs. Oh, right. Set text alignment, text font align, left top. And I guess we can say, and you know, while I'm at it, this is driving me crazy. Okay, so you can see in the top left corner that my app surface is 1440 by 810. My view is 480 by 270. So this is many times larger. So when your app surface is larger than your view, you are using more pixels to render your sprite than you think you are. So each one of these pixels, is that 3? Is that what I did? Did I do 3? 4. So it's 4 times the size. So each pixel, as far as the character is concerned, each one of her pixels, and really each one of my game's pixels, are 4 by 4. $70. more like 3. Let's see. Yeah, that's 3. What is this guy doing? Okay, that's a problem for another time. Okay, each pixel is 9 pixels, 3 by 3. So when I move 1 to the left or the right, she's moving 3 pixels instead of just like nice 1 pixel at a time, depending on her speed, right? I mean, you want nice, smooth movement. The camera's doing the same thing. So the camera's moving at whole increments. Now, this does look fine. Like even not looking at it on YouTube, like looking at the actual output of the game, it looks pretty good. It doesn't hurt the eyes or anything like that. But as soon as we added like a smooth camera, yeah, it's not going to look good anymore. So let's fix this now, and then we'll go through and we'll get the y variable up to par. So what we're going to do is we're going to say we have an x and a y for where our character literally is, and we're going to use that for collision checks and all sorts of stuff like that. But now I want my drawing, like where I'm drawing the sprite, to be offset so that it can smoothly move towards its position. And you have totally seen something like this in 3D games, where the character might make a big jump, not like a literal animation jump, but it might like teleport, and you can kind of see the 3D model like moving across the screen rather than literally teleporting to where the sprite is. I see this a lot. I'm kind of a League of Legends nerd. I see this a lot in the recall animations in League of Legends. So the character is being teleported from wherever they are on the map back to the home base. And the X and the Y position, you can imagine, are being just set in code. Just, hey, your X, Y is this and that. But the graphics, you can kind of see them jump off screen just a little bit. You see like one frame of them like moving towards the fountain, their home base. And that's because you don't really want to tie. I mean, we do this all the time in GameMaker, but there's no reason to tie your visuals 100% to your like logic stuff, our X and Y position, our collision masks, our collision checks. As we're about to see, you can desync these and your game is still going to feel awesome, and it's going to be more predictable because we're working with whole number positions and still look smooth. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to have a draw X and a draw Y. John, can't you just put that in a struct, like draw.x and draw.y? Yes, you can. Look, I almost used underscores again. So I'm going to follow my own advice real quick and say draw equals okay. So we're gonna have a draw X and a draw Y. And this is gonna start at XY, but it's not gonna stay there. So we're gonna say in the draw event, and we could do this in like the pre-draw, whatever, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna update our draw X and our draw Y to move towards our target X and Y. And we're going to do this just as dead simple as possible. It's a pattern you've probably seen. Draw.x equals lerp, draw.x, x, and then we're going to have an update speed. Say speed equals 0.2. Actually, you want to keep this pretty high because we do want it to be close. We just don't want it to be so exact that we're losing out on the advantage of using subpixels. So draw.y equals lerp, draw.x. Why am I doing this? This is like we're using a struct. Let's use a struct. Date equals function. X, Y equals draw.x, draw.y. I think I can just do other.x, other.y. Using other inside of a struct is kind of a crapshoot. This should work fine. I'll fix it if it breaks later, but whatever. I've been bitten by it enough to know that sometimes using other in a struct is not reliable. So finally, we need to draw our character at that location. So if I go into our player's create event and look at her states, because that's where we're drawing her, is in her state, we're using draw self-extended. That's all well and good, right? But now I have to go change this everywhere. Like, okay, I've copied and pasted this line of code 3 times, but now I've got to go and update it in 3 places, and that's only because I have 3 different states right now. If I had 10 states at this point, if I'd gone through and fixed like falling and running and turned jump into 3 different states, whatever, I'd have to be updating this in like 8 different places. So I'm done with this. This is silly. I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm just going to have a new draw self, and it's just going to do that. So we're going to fix that in all of these. Self and draw self. So that means I need to have a function on here that is a self. It's that, and our x and our y is now going to be draw.x and draw.y. So now as I add more states, I can just use draw self in the draw event, and it should use this new thing. So let's see if that looks any better. I actually think there might be a problem with this. Well, besides all this, what else did I do? Yeah, got other expected. Oh, right, comma. Commas are important. I don't know how I left that one out. See how this works. There we go. That's obviously not good. It must have. Oh, and we're moving through our wall, so that's great. What did I do here? Other x, other y, y, draw self, draw x, draw y. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that should look a little bit better, but we've obviously got some other problems with our collision checks. We were able to move through the wall. Yeah, that's not good. Shouldn't just slow us down. We shouldn't be able to do it. So I need to fix that. But other than that, it looks pretty good. Our camera could follow the character position, and that would be fine. We don't need our cameras to be locked to whole numbers. Doesn't look bad yet, so I might wait until I see a problem to worry about that. So let's fix that collision. That's obviously not good. What did I do here? Oh, yeah. I need to zero that out as well. Oh. Okay. Oh. Yeah. And I could probably fix that a little bit more elegantly, but I don't care. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's fix our Y collisions now, and then we'll be done for this video, I think. Back to our create event, got our V-speed remaining already. We're updating our X and our Y. So we just need to do the same thing here. So I'm going to do the same thing. Let's say V-speed remaining, V-speed, V-speed remaining, V-speed remaining, V-speed remaining. Okay, then we don't need the while loop. And dir and V-speed remaining 0, dir equals 0 on ground. Then plus equal y plus equals dir. We want that inside of this. Okay, let's clean up our white space. Right. So there is kind of a thing where like hits the ground and like kind of floats to the bottom a little bit, which is kind of weird. Could conceivably kick that speed up a bit. If that fixes it. If that doesn't fix it, it might be related to something else. Okay, it is. I think it's related to something else. I think it's because the origin of like this sprite is like she hits the ground, and yeah, it's fine. It's fine. That's sort of the polish thing that you just don't really need to worry about at this point. I'm sure I'll fix that when I'll fix that when I worry about making the jump animation more interesting. But our X and Y positions are whole numbers now. Everything got some momentum, her movement, so she feels good. She's not like instantly accelerating. And now we can fix the jumps, yeah, next time let's work on making the jump physics feel a little bit better and having those same kind of variables we can tweak for jump power and air control, things like that. So maybe we don't want her to move as easily in the air as she does on the ground. It actually feels all right, but we can at least set it up so that we can adjust that separately from her movement speed. So we'll do that next time. Oh, hey, before we sign off, commit. So, let's say lock momentum and physics, whole number positions for the player. That's a good work there. Push that up. All right. Now, next time, we'll work on the jump.